More troops activated, more barricades going in around the Capital One building, where the inauguration will be held in Washington. The watch party will be held. There's people, they said, it's been lined up since yesterday to have a watch party today, bearing the cold weather that's been in Washington, D.C. So that's encouraging. Now, I love the fact that they're putting more barricades up because there's already been major protests in major cities. But for the good news, we're going to talk about some of the plans and things that are already transpiring. We're also got a sneak peek of 200 executive orders. We're going to talk about a few of them today. And the fact that he's pulling intelligence clearances for all these people who tried to take advantage of us as Americans. A lot of good things are happening today. We're going to jump into that. Also, we're going to dive into a few more things in California. We're going to talk about what the insurance just paid a client for their home. And it should scare you to death. We'll also talk about a railway system? It's kind of weird. Also, what was Obama doing in Washington? He was there for the inauguration. Remember, he's not supposed to be part of the inauguration. Remember, there was a word that several of the presidents and their wives were not going to be in attendance. Well, they said Michelle wasn't going to be there. Maybe been rumors of, some kind of bad blood between them because, she didn't even come to Jimmy Carter's funeral. So what's actually happening with Barack? We'll talk about some of that today. Let's dive into these stories and a few more. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to our channel, we humbly ask that you give us a thumbs up if you like the content of today's video. Subscribe so that way you can know what's going on each and every day. We do daily posting, sometimes even live, so you never know what may go on. So please make sure you are subscribed and hit the little bell button because sometimes they try to hide our channel. We want to make sure that you're getting the information that you need. Now let's dive into these stories today. First, let's talk about some of the things with Trump and the inauguration. We're going to talk about the executive orders, but also some of the defunding and also the declassifying of documents. But also, we're going to talk about the fact that Trump is pulling clearances, security clearances for a lot of people. Now, help me understand. Did you know, I don't know if you know this, people like, for instance, Antony Blinken, he's already applied for top secret security clearances even though he's out of office. Brennan, who is a very dirty person, has top security clearances still. Michael Hayden, who does not like Trump, who was a CIA director, has top security clearances. Do you realize that we let these people still have very important information at the top level, even after they have served and they're out of office, and most of them go on to do other work as defense contractors or lobbyists, and so they have insider information. Do you know they have that information? I thought RFK made a good point about TikTok, and that's not what the video is about today, but I thought it was pretty good when he said, you're worried about China spying on you through an app. He said, yes, we were worried about that. He said, but the people that are spying on you even more are our own intelligence apparatuses, the CIA. Some of these people that's got clearances that shouldn't, they know more about you than what the Chinese do. And when you think about that, you're like, well, I don't want anybody knowing about me. So again, that's why we push for deregulation. That's why we push for people like Trump. So let's go over a few details of what I'm talking about some of the major changes he's already implemented even before he's president. Of course, I'm not a TikTok fan, but TikTok got restored because of a 90-day window. There'll be a 50% sell to an American company. I know that there's been Kevin O'Leary and Steve Mnuchin, and a lot of people has been playing for TikTok. Personally, I'm not crazy about the app, but a lot of people do like it. I think this was a big plus for Trump, as in getting the younger generation, a lot of influencers who did not personally like him, that were liberals, kind of really pulled him along. You should see some of the testimonies. Everybody's like praising Trump, and I think that's kind of funny. Do I believe that we should make sure that it is not pulling too much information of people on the app? Absolutely. But it's one of those things that I do think it's wise to allow people to have free speech and to be able to pass information on there. Now, it does not work good for me. I get censored on there. But I do think it's a wise move for Trump, and I do believe that if we can see a local billionaire or a local businessman or a local group of individuals buy into TikTok, I think that helps control it a little bit more. And I think it's a great leverage for billions of dollars of revenue to come into America versus it just going straight to China. Remember, all that revenue was not actually kept here. A lot of that revenue was sent overseas because we had no say in it. So I'm glad that it shut down for a period to then allow for leverage for Trump. So I think that's a good move. Also, HHS, again, not led by RFK yet, but listen to this. HHS defunds EcoHealth Alliance, the Peter Danzig facility that was dangerous with the function research in Wuhan, shut down already. Isn't that amazing? It should have been shut down way long ago, but I love the fact that even before Trump is president, it's shut down. The Federal Reserve, for one thing, I don't understand why the Fed has anything to do with climate change, but the Federal Reserve has now pulled out and withdrew from a climate initiative they were part of because of Trump. They said Trump didn't want to be in it, so therefore they're going ahead and pulling out. U.S. Federal Reserve is exiting a global climate change coalition. One thing, again, why is the Fed even involved in something like this? But I'm glad that they're pulling out. A good, again, Trump effect. This is my favorite. I want you to listen to this. This was an article, and this has been shared by a lot of places, but this was shared by Zero Hedge. It says, Trump to suspend security clearances for CIA contractors who colluded to discredit Hunter Biden laptop stories. And what this is basically all the people that lied about the laptop, all the people that said it was fake, all the people that said the intel wasn't there, all those people, 51 people they said that was tied up into this, that vouched for Biden, are now losing security clearances. I love what General Michael Flynn says. It says, strip their clearances, require every USG contract they are a part to remove them off their payrolls, otherwise risk of losing contracts. Demand and maintain their text messages, emails, etc. This is where I like what Michael Flynn said. All these people, like I was telling you with Anthony Blinken and Brennan, and all these people that have all the security clearances, I'd like to know what their text says and their email says. If they have the rights to know information of Americans and have the top secret, clearance, why would we not be able to see exactly what they've told people about some of those things? I think it's a phenomenal play, especially when all these people basically literally are intel agents, knowing it was true, knowing the things were dishonest that they were sharing. So let's find out who they were sharing them to. So I thought General Michael Flynn had a point, and I love the fact that Trump said, I'm pulling their security clearances right off. They will no longer have access to it. And all these people from this administration, the Garlands, the Blinkens, there shouldn't be any. They served their term. They served under their president. They should not have security clearances. They should be revoked. Again, they're not some amazing citizen Superman that's going to save us. They're just normal people that served that actually did a horrible job. Why do we want to give them security access to the most top secret information to then turn around and be maybe used against us like these 51 other people did? Another thing that was huge, this came out from Tom Homan, and actually, again, there was some word that there could have been some raids today. I want you to listen to what was said. This was shared by a news story and later picked up by Fox News. It said, Tom Homan has confirmed that immigration raids will be starting as soon as Tuesday in several cities, that they are highly organized and coordinated, that they have been looking into the public safety and threats in this country for a long time now. He also assured that he's going to be sued, the administration is going to be pressed against, the media is going to hate him for it, but we are going to do our job. That's what's encouraging, because as well as I do, this is where I worry about Congress and Senate, because I believe they don't have the brass and the backbone to stand up. And I love the fact that Tom Homan said, look, we're going to be sued. People are going to throw rocks at us. They're going to call us names. The legacy media is going to hate us. But ultimately, we're doing the job that American people elected us to do. He's already saying he knows he's going to be hated by the Washington elite. He's going to be hated by the media. But he's going to do his job because he knows the safety and security of his children, his grandchildren are on the line. And Trump feels the same way. That is what leadership looks like. Going against the actual flow of water. Did you see that CBS and I think ABC so far have had to settle and pay major money for false accusations and false stories and how they've worked against Trump? It shows that legacy media is dying. I love the fact that, again, not that I'm a TikTok fan, but I love the fact that social media, Twitter, YouTube, Meta, how they're coming around and how TikTok is available where people can get news sources from things other than legacy media. And I think that is very encouraging. And I love the fact that Trump is pushing back. I love the fact that Tom Homan is saying, look, we're going to do these raids because that's what the American people wanted. remember I said this yesterday, 87 point something percent, I think it was like 8%, want to see this taken care of. They want to see criminals sent back. They want to see all the people that are breaking the law, all the people that are living on the government dole to be sent back. Only 10% said they believe in what Biden was doing. Biden is leaving office today, and they said he is in the worst negative position of any president leaving office. Isn't that unbelievable? It shows that people are starting to wake up. Even in California, I want you to listen to this story, and this shows, I mean, Gavin Newsom is giddy about speculators coming in. He's already talked about how he is worried about the land and how he wants to make sure it is ready for LA 2.0, a 15-minute city basically. Do the research on what he's saying. But this lady, this poor, I felt so sorry for her. She says, I don't know if it was arson or natural. She says, but I come back to my home that's $4.5 million worth of build, and my insurance just gave me $800,000. The fact that we openly discuss, I cannot rebuild right here for that. So what she's going to do is end up what? Doing like most people, and she's just trying to recoup some money. You watch. She'll get $800,000, and then someone will come in, a speculator, a big land grabber, and they'll pay her a few million probably for the land, and then she'll say, well, I guess I got to settle for that. That's how it happens. And we don't think that there's something nefarious going on about that? I mean, insurance literally paid her, what is that, a sixth? You know, a fifth or a sixth of what the value of that property is? That's crazy. That's why, I mean, yeah, insurance is a scam. We know that. But there's nobody helping these people. Did you hear Trump last night about North Carolina too? I mean, he's saying, I'm not going to leave these people just to squalor like this administration has left them. Now, if we rely on just FEMA to do that, then to be honest with you, there'll be people dropped through the cracks because FEMA is not actually doing their job. But I love the fact that he's not forgotten about them. J.D. Vance made a point the other day to say, we're not going to forget about North Carolina. That's leadership. Now, you know what they should do? Is just cut the regulation and let the locals worry about it. You give them money and make sure the locals take care of it because the locals know what the locals need. The towns know what the towns need. Like California, Gavin's been talking about how he's meeting with all these city boards to make sure that everything's going to be perfect. The government is what caused all this issue. If they would have just done reforestation, if they've done filling up the reservoirs, if they've done everything they could to make sure that this place was safe and make sure the insurance would cover these homes, that's what leadership would have been. But no, they didn't do any of that. And now this poor lady is sitting there crying on camera saying that for her $4.5 million home, she's going to get $800,000. Now, when people say, oh, that's a lot of money, 4.5, she must have a lot of money. It doesn't matter. It's unfair. If you have a $50,000 home and they're willing to give you $5,000 or $10,000, you'd be up a creek without a paddle as well and be very disheartened. And so therefore, you'd probably sell your land for whatever you can get for it or need help getting out of that situation. And that's exactly what these people are going to do. 2 more articles on California I received on an email from 2 people. One was actually a natural news story. I thought this was pretty good. It said, Dioxin Apocalypse. It says, are the California fires unleashing just a silent cancer epidemic? They said all this stuff is burning down to the PVC and all these plastics and all this stuff, and they can't contain it. And this smoke is actually causing major sicknesses and will cause major sicknesses over the coming years. It says California wildfires are incinerating structures that contain all this PVC material, all this highly toxic dioxins that are in the air now, and they are forever chemicals that will be plastered in people's lungs and making people sick. It says these forever chemicals are carcinogenic and pose a severe health risk to the immune systems of everyone that's exposed. So we talk about things like dangers. This is a huge toxin danger. I think of East Palestine not too long ago, and now these fires, and we just think, well, it's just a fire, no big deal. I mean, nobody wants to breathe in smoke, but it can't be that bad for you. The stuff that's burning is going to cause for sicknesses for these people for years on end. Dioxin-laden ash is settling on California's Central Valley, a major agricultural hub threatening crops, orchards, and water sources. The contamination could disrupt the nation's food supply as the region produces significant amounts of fruits, nuts, and vegetables for America. And did you hear that? So you may be impacted by the fire more than you realize. Let's keep on going. It says dioxin crisis coincides with the surge of turbo cancers linked to the illnesses that we talked about. You know what Japan just put out? Japan said their levels of heart problems and cancer is up 4,900% because of this. So we're seeing populations because of this and because of bad government leadership, like in California, now causing severe sicknesses. Not to talk about the money with the insurances and the land grabs. The food system. Just think if you eat, strawberries, tomatoes, nuts, avocados. Look at where that food comes from. If it's an American-made product and it's not from Mexico, most of it comes out of the California valleys. So are you going to be affected by that? Are you affected now by your food system that's going to be in the grocery because that stuff is getting forever chemicals, forever toxins on the lands? Something to think about. That's why I push you to grow your own food. I also received an email from a gentleman named Richard, and I'm not going to say his last name just for safety, but I thought he made a good point. It was really a neat point he said. A very thought-provoking point. It says, I got to thinking about what you said about the BlackRock offering people money in the California fires and how they were buying up lands, and you heard that a lot of land grabs were happening speculators. I mean, Gavin Newsom admitted to that. It says, look at this and what I found. He said, I found that a picture of a proposed railway system that has been introduced to the people of California. It says, I'm sure it's maybe accident. I'm not sure if it's just accident or coincidence, but it looks pretty much the same places of the fire. Now, you can pull this picture up. Go online and pull the proposed implementation of the new railway system. Now, we talked about it, 15-minute cities, talked about smart cities, talked about LA 2.0, and they talked about doing this big railway system. This railway system, I know that's hard to see right there, but I want you to pull up a map of the Palisades fire, and then you go and you pull up the proposed railway system. And after this gentleman sent this, and I give him kudos because I didn't even pay attention. You know, we talked about the LA 2.0, but when you start looking at that, you're like, all the regulations, all the new changes, all the new ordinances, the fact that they want to make this some kind of new city, it's weird how all this stuff happened. And it's just coincidental that this area seems like exactly where the railway is supposed to go. Exactly where the new LA 2.0 system that Gavin wants to put in wants to go. You know who he consulted with? The people in Hawaii that had the same problem happen to them. Something to pay attention to. Now, good news. Inauguration's happening today. Hopefully everything goes smoothly with that. But don't ever underestimate how much sometimes the government and things that happen are against you. You know, the most important story today is not the fact that Trump is getting inaugurated. I think that's great. Don't get me wrong. But really the saddest thing is the fact that if you're not over your own food system and then you hear about the fact that these forever chemicals are going into your food, that ash is falling on that ground, what are they going to do? If they clean it up, they're going to tear up the ground. If they disc it in, they're going to put it in the ground. If they let it just lie, they're going to not have crops and therefore shortages in groceries go up. Or they're going to keep on growing in it and your food's going to be produced in very sick kind of chemicals that will get in your food and cause sicknesses like Japan was talking about. That's probably the biggest story of the day. Let me know your thoughts on some of these topics and stories. Again, great news coming out of Trump White House, and already things are happening. I love the fact that the ceasefire. I love the fact that the hostages are being released. I love the fact that there's things happening. But ultimately, we cannot just put our head in the sand. Things are still needing our attention, and we need to make sure that we're wise and gain a common sense approach to the world that we're living in right now. Guys, thank you for watching. God bless.